You wake up before the sun, not because you want to, because a horn tells you to. Your legs ache from yesterday's march, your shoulders are raw where the straps of your pack cut into them. You have 20 minutes to eat, and then you march again. This is not glamorous. The real answer to what it meant to be a Roman soldier is far stranger and far harder than any movie has shown you. Start with the weight on your back. Historian Jonathan Roth studied Roman military logistics in detail, and his research shows the average legionary carried close to 90 pounds of equipment on a march. That's not counting your body armor. That's your shield, your javelins, your rations, your cooking pot, your tools for building a camp from nothing every single night. Soldiers even had a nickname for themselves because of this. Marius's Mules, named after the general who first demanded they carry their own supplies instead of relying on slow baggage trains. Why would an army do that to itself? Because speed wins wars. A legion that could feed itself and shelter itself without waiting for wagons could move faster than any enemy expected. Your discomfort was the empire's advantage. Think about your daily life for a moment. You're not fighting most days, you're digging. Every night on the march, you build an entire fortified camp, trenches, ramparts, a gate. And then, the next morning, you tear it all down and do it again the next night, somewhere else. Archaeologist Simon James, who spent years examining Roman military sites, has shown just how standardized and disciplined this process was. Every camp followed nearly the same layout, no matter where in the empire you were stationed. Britain, Syria, North Africa, the same grid, the same order, so that any soldier from any legion could walk into camp in the dark and know exactly where he was. That predictability wasn't boring by accident, it was survival by design. Now picture actual combat, because here's where the truth gets uncomfortable. You are standing in a line, shoulder to shoulder, so close you can feel the man beside you breathing. In front of you is a wall of shields, and beyond that, an enemy who wants you dead. There is no room to dodge. There is barely room to swing your weapon. Historian Adrian Goldsworthy has written extensively about the reality of ancient combat, and one detail stands out. Battles like this were rarely fought at a full sprint with wild swinging, the way film shows it. Instead, they were slow, grinding, exhausting pushes, shield against shield, shoving, stabbing through gaps barely wide enough for a hand. Men died from suffocation in the crush of their own formation as often as from a blade. You didn't fight as an individual hero. You fought as one small piece of a wall of bodies, and the wall only worked if nobody broke. That's the part modern people almost never picture. The terror wasn't only the enemy in front of you, it was the fear of being the one who ran, because a broken line meant everyone behind you died too. So why did men hold that line? Not because they were fearless, because of the man beside them. Roman legions trained together, ate together, marched together for years before ever fighting together. By the time you stood in that shield wall, the man to your left wasn't a stranger. He was someone who had shared your rations, mocked your snoring, helped carry your gear when you were sick. You held the line because letting him die felt worse than dying yourself. This is a pattern historians see again and again in ancient and modern armies alike. Cohesion, not patriotism, wins battles, not a flag, not an emperor's face on a coin. The man next to you. Now think about the boredom, because most of your life as a soldier wasn't battle at all. You spent years on frontier posts, doing paperwork, repairing roads, building bridges, escorting tax collectors, standing watch over quiet borders where nothing happened for months at a time. Surviving records from Roman forts, including letters found preserved in the mud at sites like Vindolanda in northern Britain, show soldiers writing home about socks, boots, and beer shipments, not conquest, not glory, supplies. That's the real texture of the job. Long stretches of tedium punctuated by moments of absolute terror, with almost nothing in between to prepare you for the shift from one to the other. And when the terror did come, there was no real way to process it afterward, no therapy, no leave to recover. You marched the next morning whether your hands had stopped shaking or not. Consider what happened to your body over the years. Skeletal remains of Roman soldiers, examined by researchers across multiple excavation sites, frequently show stress fractures in the feet and lower spine from decades of marching under load, old sword wounds that healed badly, joints worn down far beyond what you'd expect for a man's age. You weren't paying with your life. All at once, you were paying with your body piece by piece, year after year, whether or not you ever died in combat. And yet men enlisted willingly. Why? Because for most recruits, the alternative was worse. Land was scarce. Work was hard and often unstable. A soldier's pay, however modest, was steady. At the end of 25 years of service, if you survived, you were often granted land, citizenship, and a pension. For a poor farmer's son with no other path forward, the Legion wasn't just a job. It was one of the only ladders out of poverty that Rome offered. So the empire didn't need to force most of its soldiers into service. It only needed to make the alternative feel worse than 90 pounds of gear, sleepless nights, and the ever-present possibility of dying in a shield wall far from home. That trade is not so different from choices people still make today. Steady pay against personal risk, structure against freedom, a ladder out of hardship, even if the ladder is brutal to climb. You wake up before the sun, not because you want to, but because then as now, survival has always asked people to trade comfort for the promise of something better waiting on the other side of the march.